Tonight is overcoming demonic infirmities.
Amen.
Overcoming demonic infirmities.
Amen.
Okay, I feel like, let me just give you just a little word where I'm kind of coming from. Sometimes I pick up different things that's happening in the spirit realm, and a lot of different people have been, Satan has, in my opinion, been attacking people's energy level and attacking their strength. And just an example of this, I noticed recently, I feel like there's been like I began to realize, well, I was tired of the natural, but I began to realize, no, there's a demonic, satanic weakness upon me. And usually that's fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, and also congestive heart failure. Now, I've cast congestive heart failure out of teenagers.
Yes.
And I cast some congestive heart failure out of me. My energy level just soared. Just my energy level is just really being strengthened. I want to just recommend some books here tonight, and this is by Frank Hammond. This is a handbook, a beginning how-to handbook. It's a good place for people to begin. It's called Pigs in the Parlor by Frank and Ida Mae Hammond, Hammond. They also have a book on breaking curses, which we're also going to be doing a lot of studying here, curses. Okay, this is called The Breaking of Curses by Frank Hammond. Frank Hammond, The Breaking of Curses by Frank Hammond. I also greatly recommend a book by Derek Prince called They Shall Expel Demons. Derek Prince, They Shall Expel Demons. There's a lot in there, and he goes into some things a lot of people don't. It really goes into the connection between deliverance and healing.
Yes.
This is by Derek Prince called Blessing or Cursing, You Could Choose. I said before your death and life, choose life, that you and your seed may live and may multiply. So if people choose the behavior, they'll choose the consequences. If people choose to sin, they'll choose the consequences. It's called Blessing or Curse, You Could Choose by Derek Prince. This is a book, goes in great detail, one of the best books I've ever read upon rejection. We have multiple books on rejection here. This is by Frank Hammond, Overcoming Rejection. We have these books available at wholesale prices. And this is a real warfare book by John Ramirez, Armed and Dangerous. John Ramirez, Armed and Dangerous. So these are different books that we recommend. Let's get in Luke chapter 13. I'm just going to speak for a little bit, then we're going to have a question and answer period. Pastor Jan, help me remember that. Sometimes I forget the question and answer period. I want to do that before we get into deliverance. Luke chapter 13 and verse 10. Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues upon the Sabbath. And behold, there was a woman that had a spirit of infirmity 18 years. Now, I wanted to find that word infirmity for you because that's what I'm going to be speaking on tonight in MinisterCon in this realm. My title tonight is Overcoming Demonic Infirmities. I'm going to show you how Satan will put a weakness upon you. He wants to take your strength and your power, your health and your energy, your vitality away from you so that you feel too tired to pray, too tired to come to church. You go through, the joy level goes down, hinders your ability to receive revelation. So it puts a lot of things upon you because there's warfare in the spirit realm. Okay, so let me define that word infirmity in the Greek. What it means is feebleness of body or mind. Okay, so it can be feebleness of mind or feebleness of body. Okay, so I'm going to mostly be speaking in the realm of the body tonight rather than the mind. There's just hours of teaching in both. So there's mind, will, emotions, body, soul, spirit. Okay, there's feebleness of body or mind. It means sickness. Infirmity means disease, frailty. Satan wants us to be frail. It means impotent, so that which would be like powerless. I mean strengthless, powerless, or weakness. Every one of those are demons. And so when you deal with something with this is when Derek Prince, I learned this from Derek Prince. And when you deal with something like multiple sclerosis, and he addresses this in the chapter on about demonic illnesses. When you deal with something like diabetes or multiple sclerosis, you have to deal with every symptom as an individual demon. You don't just cast out one thing. You don't just you have to deal with everyone like a diabetes, every symptom, then there's a demon or demons causing that individual symptom. Same thing with like, and I'll get to that a little bit on allergies. Okay, so it's not just one thing, it's every symptom that you're experiencing, that's a demon that has to, so there's a ruler, to be a ruler, we're binding the strong man, we're cast out the ruling spirit in that territory and in that area, and then every symptom, everything that's manifesting in that certain area, then we take authority over. So multiple sclerosis, and he gives a beautiful illustration in there about this long list of demons that he cast out, and this person with multiple sclerosis was totally healed and totally delivered. Then that person, now remember, we say over and over again, this is about territory. So we're talking about the mind, the will, the emotion, the heart. The thought life, the motive. We're talking about your sexual realm, finances, your body, your life, your family, the church, ministry, nation. So there's territory. So in that story that he tells about the multiple sclerosis, the person that was delivered said that the demon would, remember now, cast the demon out, the demon go through dry place, it'll try to come back, and try to come back and take back territory, try to bring 7 more wicked than itself. She said that she could feel it wanted to come back. She would not believe the light. The demon could come back on the outside and give you a lying sentence. If you accept the symptoms, then they can have the legal right to come back in. So she would say that she would begin to feel the symptom. The demon would be cast out, and the symptom would come back. She learned. Now, I've said this for years, that number one, the battle is twofold. Number one, you got to take territory. Secondly, the warfare to keep that territory that you take is more difficult than taking it in the first place. There's real warfare, okay? The nature of the demon, to steal, to kill, to destroy. So Satan wants to steal. So if you take some territory, he doesn't just throw it. If someone comes to the altar and prays a sin of prayer, the devil doesn't leave him alone. The devil doesn't give up on and say, well, they went to the altar and prayed. He increases the warfare against them. Because he hates God. He wants to discredit God and the church and the gospel and that person. He wants to discredit all believers. Okay, so Jesus here, and I'll have to tell a couple of stories on myself that doesn't put me in a good light, but I'm free enough from the praise of man that I can tell you of my mistakes, because for the most part, I've learned from my mistakes, and I don't keep making the same mistake. There was a woman that had a spirit of infirmity for 18 years. How long have you had what you got going on in your life? And it said you're going to come in contact with people that had something for quite a while. But you see this woman, after 18 years, she's bound together. The word bound together means she's stripped together. It means to be completely overcome by. Okay, so she's bound together, could no wise lift herself up. So a lot of people said this curvature of the spine, there's the scoliosis. Those are demon spirits that set up in the spine. You can cast those demons out of the spine. Scoliosis, curvature of the spine. Osteoporosis, those demon spirits within the spine. You could bind that, you could cast that out, and the scoliosis, the curvature of the spine, can be made straight. And you take back that territory. Amen? All right. Okay, so this woman is bowed down. She's bound together. She could in no wise lift herself up. Now, let me just say this right from the beginning. Jesus here is in the synagogue and is teaching. Now, for many years, when I first started pulpit ministry, I was still full of self. I was still had my demons. I had been through deliverance, and so I thought I was a dead man that gave dead sermons to kill. Amazing. And I thought, well, I spoke the word. Now it's between you and God. And I was a dead man. I just put people to sleep. Man. Okay, so Jesus here. Now, here's where God's bringing the church to a place. We don't just teach or speak something, good theory, good doctrine, good teaching. There's got to be an impartation. Something got to happen when people come. Yes. God's heart is, I'm going to stop my teaching and I'm going to minister to you, which is what we're going to do tonight. We're going to cast out some devils tonight. So Jesus teaches in the synagogue. Amen. Right. And he sees this woman bowed down who can no wise lift herself up. The purpose of the church service is that everybody that can have a life-changing experience with the life-changing God. You do not exist to hear us preachers oratate. Amen. Amen. We preach to bring you to a place. This is what I said Sunday morning. Sunday was so powerful. I said, God, Moses brought the people to the foot of the mountain to meet with God. We come here tonight to meet with God. You read your Bible on a daily to meet with God. Daily to get along with God, to meet with God. Amen. We're trying to get you to God. We get you to church. We haven't won. We get someone to church. We got to get you the God of the church. Amen?
Yes.
So the point I'm trying to make is that we got the supernatural power of God, that Jesus cares more about the bowed down woman who had something so bottled down she could in no wise lift herself up. So when we in ministry, when we're willing to heal the sick and deliver the captive, that's why there's such doctrine and teaching today. We call it, God calls it, I didn't call it. God calls it doctrines of demons, the doctrines of men, traditions of men that make null and void the word of God. There will be people you're going to tell, my God, someone got healed of cancer. Someone got a demon of insanity cast out of them. And they'll tell you, you must be going to some cult. Because they don't believe in signs, wonders, miracles, healing, deliverance, talking tongues, or the gifts of the Holy Spirit, or for today's a life from the pit of hell. Because Satan understands the power of God. Satan understands the power of God more than much of the church. Not all the church, but much of the church, okay? So Jesus here is in church, and he sees a woman that's and no wise can lift herself up. There's a love, there's a mercy, there's a love. There's a love right there, okay? I got to care more about the people meeting with God in such a way that their life would change than me orating. That doesn't mean we're not going to preach. We will preach prophetically, we'll teach, we'll be soft, we'll be medium, we'll be loud, we'll be very loud.
Amen.
And we may speak short, we may speak medium, we may speak for what? Hey, we're going to cast out devils here just a little bit. All right, moving right along here. When Jesus sees this woman, he called her to him, said to her, "Woman, thou art loosed from thine infirmity." The word loose means you have been made free fully to relieve, to release, to dismiss, to depart, to let this thing go. And remember again, I've already defined the word infirmity. He laid his hands on her, and immediately she was made straight to glorify God. Now, this doesn't make it real clear yet, but I'm going to make it clear. As I read the script is going to make this real clear what happened. Now, Jesus laid his hands upon her, and immediately she was made straight, glorifying God. Now, let me just say this, that many people miss it. When I first started in full-time pulpit ministry in the 80s, I missed it very much. I believed in healing here, but I had such an identity problem. I had so much rejection, so much fear, so much unbelief within me. I still was full of self, still very demonized myself. So when people come to the altar, I'm a full-time pastor, ordained minister, Bible college graduate, people come to the altar and say, "Pastor Bill, would you pray for me for healing?" I would say with my mouth, yes. And my internal voice would tell me, as I would begin to stretch forth my hand, I would hear this internal voice, the same voice that one or two of you hear. And this internal voice would tell me, "Who do you think that you are, that God would heal anyone through you?" And I would come into agreement with that, and I was operating in unbelief. I'm not there now. Come on, things of God. I grew from that. I grew from that. It's not where you begin. It's not where you begin. It's not where you are now. I do not want to stay where I am now spiritually. There's new ground for me. I want to grow. Okay, the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of times, the point I'm trying to make is that demons can cause sickness and disease and infirmity, and I'm praying for God to do something, and He'd give me the anointing to do something, but I was not yet in wisdom and understanding. I had not grown to the place of understanding fullness, so God taught me new things, okay? And He brought someone into my life that I would learn a whole lot of deliverance. I saw him every day in the mirror. So I began to practice deliverance on, and I got plenty of practice. I had plenty of time for homework, okay? Now the point I'm trying to make, well, I pray for God to do something, and people, I want to say, at the most, this is stretching, the most, maybe 1% got healed. I think they were just claiming it. People weren't getting healed. I pray for God to do something. And when I got the revelation, this is demons, and I began to cast out demons. Everywhere I went, people started getting healed. Everywhere I went, people started getting healed. I prayed for God to do something, and God said, "I'm waiting for you to do something." And God had more time than me. I'm waiting on you. You are so worth it. He laid his hands upon her, and immediately she was made straight, and the ruler of the synagogue answered with indignation. There's going to be a whole lot of indignation against the supernatural power of God.
Oh, yes.
What I'm telling you, if it's biblical, do it. Let the chips fall to the main. You say, well, we know, we know as long as we have church, it allows some of you all.
That's right. Oh, yes.
As loud as some of you are,
Yeah.
and as long as we believe one of the greatest hindrances to moving in the Spirit that people don't want to take time. When you take time, we understand that may cost us numerically. That's a price we're willing to pay. We count that cost, we're willing to pay that cost.
Amen.
I'd rather have the moving of the Spirit than people that get angry and upset if God moves.
Amen.
You can't put God in his box, he won't go in there. They're just wasting time trying to put him in there.
Amen. Thank you,
So
Lord.
whether people who do not want God leave, then God leave.
Yes.
Who wants to be in church for 60 years without God?
No way. No.
The ruler of the synagogue answered with indignation, with being grief. He was irritated. He was very displeased. The supernatural power of God, there's things that would really irritate phony church people. Tongues,
Yes.
healing, deliverance,
Yeah. Oh, yes.
the anointing. The word of the synagogue answered with indignation, and something you've heard that voice.
Oh, yes.
Because that Jesus had healed upon the Sabbath day, and he said to the people the sixth day they've been out to work, and then to be healed on the Sabbath day. And Jesus answered them, said, "You hypocrite."
Yep.
A lot of people can't understand that Jesus said, "You hypocrite."
Wow.
He told the ruler of the synagogue, "You hypocrite." Come on, that's red letter.
Yes.
You hypocrite. Does not each one of you the Sabbath day lose his ox or donkey from the stall, leading to watering? Ought not this woman, who is a beautiful picture of the church?
Yes.
God gave me a prophetic dream. And in this prophetic dream, this woman came to church. This woman came to church here, and a demon was cast out of her. She got healed. And she went and told other people, and the other people came, and they got healed. There's God's strategy for numerical growth.
Yes.
Come on, saints of God.
Yes.
That when the sick come and they get healed, and the captive come and get set free, and those that want to keep their sickness, those who want to keep their demons, there's plenty of places they can go to keep them. If you want to get rid of them, there's a place to come. Come on, saints of God. If it's biblical, just preach the truth, let the chips roll with them, eh? Amen?
Amen. Amen.
Says, "You hypocrite, ought not this woman, being a daughter of Abraham?" That's not a type of unbeliever, that's a believer.
Yes.
Ought not this woman, the daughter of Abraham? How many times we say, "Father Abraham, who had any sons?" Come on, saints of God. This woman been in church for 18 years, waiting
Yes. Believer, man.
for someone who understands it's a demon.
Yes. Yes.
Took me a while to figure it out too. Ought not this woman, being the daughter of Abraham, whom Satan had bound? Satan had her bound. Why was she bent over? Why was she in a position bowed down and could no wise lift herself up? Because she had a demon.
Yes.
Let me just say this without going into great detail. As a new believer, I was working for an organization, and I'm setting up citywide rallies, and I'm basically a new believer. The Bible said, "Don't trust it. Don't give a new believer too much, lest he end up in condemnation." And basically, I don't really what I'm doing. I'm a brand new believer, and to make it without going into great detail, I was in ministry, and something happened, and a great big demon entered into me, and I was bowed down for 2.5 years, and I was delivered by a prophetic word of prophecy. A tongue interpretation was spoken to me, and this great big demon that was in an automobile, and this great big demon, the person gave a message in tongues, and the first 2 words of the interpretation was, "My son." And when the word was spoken, "My son," this great big demon lifted off of me. I felt it leave, it went through the roof of the car, and I could feel it go through the sky. And I was set free. 2.5 years. Now if I get demonized, maybe 2.5 minutes, at the most 2 hours, it's out of me.
That's right.
We're here tonight to help you. Come on. So you would have to waste time that I wasted. So we're here to learn deliverance, to teach deliverance, so you be delivered, but also that you deliver other people. So that there'll be hundreds of deliverance ministers raised up in this place. Come on, saints of God. That's what this is about. We're not in here to apologize and dump donuts and tiptoe through the tulip. We're coming to have a life-changing experience with a life-changing God. I'm not this woman who's a beautiful picture of the church. The woman that type of the church. I'm not people that come to church be delivered. I'm not this woman be loose. I'm not each and every one be loose.
Amen.
Amen. Or do you want me to speak with authority tonight? You want me to tiptoe through the tulip, give me a good doctrine, good teaching, be so boring, put you to sleep? You leave refreshed. You got a good nap, I'll put you to sleep. I'll let volcanoes. The Spirit will give you life. Come on, saints of God. Prophetic word tonight about the boldness. I thought this woman, the daughter of Abraham, whom Satan had bound these 18 years, be loosed from this bond upon the Sabbath day. And when he had said these things, his adversaries were ashamed, and all the people rejoiced for all the glory things that were done by him. There are people that do not want to go on with God. They're willing to tolerate a church service. They think, God, you owe me. I took time out of my busy schedule to come to church and hurry up, get this thing over so I can go back to my electronic devices and my idols. And you will irritate them because you want God. And they'll be jealous of your anointing. They want what you have, but they're not willing to pay the price for it. Come on, saints of God. For me to forward deliverance, I had to get rid of my own. And that took quiet. All right. Let me go to John chapter 5 real quick. Then we'll get practical. John chapter 5, verse 1. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches, and in the lay a great multitude of impotent folk. Remember now the definition, one of the many definitions of the word infirmity is impotent. And the word impotent means feeble, diseased, strengthless, weak. Now what I'm telling you, Satan will put certain things upon you like a spirit of infirmity, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, or congestive heart failure, and you think you're tired. And so we begin to confess we're tired, and we speak of that, and it comes back in, and the more we speak, the more I hang around me, the tireder.
Oh, yes.
Because the devil got me confessing I'm tired, but I've learned to discern this is the demonic, supernatural weariness.
Yes.
There's a difference. There was a time that, and I've said this before, I said something like this. The tired devil talked to me. Pastor Jan said, no, you really have worked hard. You've had a very long day. You're tired of the natural.
Yes.
You can be tired of the natural.
Yes.
But there's in other words, we have human bodies, and you're not going to be able to go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's
You're
right.
not going to be able to do it. The natural body is not designed that way.
That's true, yes.
I can't wait to get to heaven when I don't have to sleep. I don't have to eat. Can't wait. If I fall over dead, don't raise me from the dead.
Amen. That's down. Amen.
These are things, see, Satan doesn't want you to be alive. He doesn't want you contending. He doesn't want you praying. He doesn't want you interceding. He doesn't want you wailing, travailing, agonizing, groaning over the souls of men and women. He wants you confessing how miserable you are. So you will be concerned about a lost world. Lost, our own lost family. And we're concerned about our hangnail. Help us, God.
Help us, God.
By this pool, Bethesda, lays a great multitude. There's a lot of people that come to church and living far below where God has for them. I've been one for many years, all too long. One person had the courage of impotent folk, blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the Spirit. Now let me say this. Many years ago, when I really start going to, there's been seasons in my life, just like There was kindergarten, and there's a elementary school season, then junior high, then senior high, then a 4-year college, and then there's graduate school. There's different seasons. There's been seasons in my life in deliverance. And there was a season, I remember one time I read this scripture, this text, and God said, I want you, from now on, when you see blind, when you see deaf, you see dumb, you see lame, when you see withered, when you see halt, I don't want you to think of the natural. Because there's more people spiritually blind, spiritually deaf, spiritually dumb, spiritually lame than there is in the natural.
Amen.
Look at that first. Not that there isn't people that are blind in the natural. Go to Matthew 12, please. Try one more text here, then we'll get to the Matthew chapter 12 and verse 22. They brought to Jesus one possessed with a demon, with a devil, blind and dumb, and Jesus healed him. Now what you see, this person's blind, he cannot see, they cannot speak. Now what you see, that Jesus is going to heal him by casting out the demon. Okay? So the connection I want you to see here is that the connection between casting out a demon, and the demon was causing the blindness, and the demon was causing the dumbness. Now let me just ask a question. Wouldn't that be a pretty good day if you prayed for someone who could not see and their eyes were open?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be a pretty good day?
Yes.
Wouldn't that bring some joy?
Yes.
Wouldn't you understand about God? Wouldn't the peace? I mean, you pray then,
Yep.
or you'd be singing.
Yeah.
The birds would be jealous of you. You'd be praising. You'd be shouting. Come on, things of God. You'd be dancing. I know how you are. You'd be dancing for quite a while. Not just a while. You'd be dancing for quite a while.
Amen. Oh, yes.
Now I will show you here. It's understand the opposition. The challenge that God's putting us. Okay, the challenge that God is putting before us. Are we willing to be biblical Christians? Okay, God's calling. There's a prophetic word tonight. There's a God's calling. Are we willing to go? Okay, when you surrender to the season of preparation, don't try to go until you're prepared.
Amen.
So submit. The faster we surrender and admit, God teach me, prepare me. That's why we're here to prepare. Okay? And God will put the go deep within you.
Yes, He does.
Okay, there was one possessed with a demon, blind and dumb, and Jesus healed him so much that the blind and dumb could both speak and see. And all the people were amazed and said, "Is not the son of David?" Now, let me just say something that's my opinion. I believe, and we've been talking recently about seasons. There's a whole lot of different seasons. The season I got saved in was out of the hippie generation, the Jesus movement, and the charismatic renewed movement. And I was involved in the revival movement. I think we need to understand seasons. And I think that right now we're kind of in a season where many people hearts have become very hardened in America.
Yeah.
People have become very worldly. They become seduced by dead religion, seduced by the idols within the world, and you. See, how can I say this? Okay, here I'll say. Here's how I'm gonna say.
False grace.
If you understand a drug like heroin, and there's powerful drugs like heroin that use heroin one to 4 times to be addicted. And people call themselves Christian, come to church for years and hear hundreds of messages, and still not attached to God. 1 to 4 times use alcohol, use heroin, addicted. And come to church and hear the truth of the mega free and not respond. Today or any day, if you hear His voice, do not harden your heart. Here's what I'm saying out of the scripture. That's what I believe. If we were to be honest, and part of that probably was me today, the boldness. If we were to be honest, which we're not always,
That's true.
I fib fairly often. So do one or two of you. Don't fool me. I'm going to tell you. When I'm out in public, the cashier say, the grocery store, how you doing? Fine. You don't have time to hear my story. The devil trying to kill me. The persecution coming against me. I got backache, I got headache, I got all kinds of things going on. You don't have time, so I just fib. Fine. You don't have the time to tell the truth. And the line behind me at the grocery store, they don't want to hear my story. So fine.
It's true.
In other words, if we were to be honest, you'll come in contact with people that heard not 10, 50, 100, 200, 500, 1,000 messages on prayer, still have little to no prayer life.
Yes.
Call themselves Christian for 10, 20, 30 years. Same thing with reading the Word, and I know about reading the Word. I heard 50, 100, 500 messages on Word, on reading the Word, and the truth of God's Word, still don't read the Word. And tell other people how good the Word is. Tell people about church attendance, not involved in the church, come every now and then. Here's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I said that to say that. Let's just heal the sick, deliver the captive, prophesy to the dry bones, and then the one will come, and then the double one will not come. And protect us from the tares. Just preach the truth, let the chips roll the back, then the one be healed, let them come. Then the one keep their sickness, they can get good health insurance. I'm serious. Let's just heal the sick. Let's just cast out the devil. Let's just prophesy to any dry bone you see. Get up in the name of Jesus. Get up, get up from there. Some will run out the door and some will run in. And you know who people are, but which direction they're going. Come on, things of God. Let's just heal the sick. Amen. We're going to be saying 2 words here just a little bit. What are we going to be saying?
Come on.
Okay, now, verse 24, when the Pharisees heard it, the Pharisees said, this guy's casting out devils by Beelzebub. They're calling Jesus the name of Satan, the prince of devils. And I've learned this is a backdoor compliment. One of the greatest compliments they can say about me, think about you, that you're a cult leader.
That's right.
That's what they said about Jesus. Yeah. Somebody called me a cult leader. You think they called me drunk when I was a drunk? I didn't stop drinking. Come on, they called me an acid head when I did LSD. I didn't stop getting high. They called me an immoral man when I was a heathen having sex. I didn't stop having sex. So let them think what they want to think. Let them say what they want to say. Let them do what they want to do. If it's biblical, let's just do it. Let them shit over the night. Come on, somebody give us some freedom. Get ready. Freedom. Let's just heal the sick, cast out the devil. Let's prophesy to people. Let me just say this, that
Absolutely.
we're not going to mention any names.
No. No names.
Sunday morning we had a good church service, and afterward we had what we call the afterglow. And so we glowed for.
Wow.
You're catching on. We glowed for a while, and then I turned to my left. I'm doing something over here, and all of a sudden I hear this powerful prophecy, tongues, interpretation, just bellowing out, and I'm listening, but it's not making sense because I thought it was coming forth to the church, but it was from one of the ladies of the church had her formerly nicotine-stained hands upon her husband and was prophesying life to him.
Yes.
Amen.
Now, what I'm saying is, you talk about loud.
Yeah. That was loud.
See, God gave us a prophetic. Well, let the Spirit of God break out.
Amen.
There has to be places where God can break out. We got to get away from this everything being so in order. Let God break out. There has to be a place where God can break out. If you try to put God in a box, He won't get near the church, let alone the box. You can't put God in the box.
Praise God.
Let him out of the box.
Amen.
Kingdom blessed us.
So if they tell you that you must be going to some devil church, that your pastor must be a cult leader, begin to realize that's the same thing they said about Jesus. When you get that kind of company, my God, you must be doing something right. You got to understand, you don't need people's approval if you got God's approval. You don't need it. We don't need it. Come on, some people pray. You got to pray. There's going to be a holy awakening. Let them preach the truth. Let them sing holy the way. Let people sing, praise again, cast out devil. Breathe the you ever see, breathe again. Come on, take them to God. Give him a praise. You've got to pray.
Yes, Lord.
Amen. So good.
Amen.
Verse 25. Jesus knew their thoughts. Boy. First time I read that and understood, I got real nervous.
Scary.
And some of you are acting like you don't know what I'm talking about. Jesus knows your thoughts too.
Yes, he does.
Amen.
Jesus knew the thoughts that he said to them, every king divided against itself. Well, let me just go down to verse 20. If I cast out devils by the Spirit of God, if I cast out devils by the Spirit of God, then the kingdom of God has come upon you. How many want? Do we want dead phony religion, or do we want the kingdom of God? Let's just do this in the biblical way, all right?
Amen.
All right, now let me do some practical things that we're going to come in for landing, and I'm going to share a few aspects of what we're going to pray against tonight. We'll just do a little bit of explanation. So I'm going to come against the spirit of infirmity,
Praise God.
generational infirmity, generational curses. Now, there's generational infirmity, there's generational curses, and then there's personal sin curses.
Yes.
Okay, those are kind of individualized. There's demons of sickness, demons that cause disease, demons that will afflict you, demons of illness, demons that bring you into bondage, all kind of different kind of bondages. I was in bondage of fear, a whole bunch more.
Yeah.
Weakness, feeble spirit, feebleness, remember feeble-minded, feeble-bodied, frailty, different addictions, tormenting spirits, impotent, powerlessness, strengthless. Demon spirits that will cause lameness, halt, withered. See, Satan's not threatened because someone comes to the altar, prays, and says his prayer. He'll begin to come against that person. His attack will be shrewd. He'll get them offended.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody hurt me.
Right.
Yeah, well, someone hurt you in the nightclub, but you didn't stop going to the nightclub. You just went to another nightclub. Your lover hurt you, but you didn't stop. You just went to another.
Right.
Yeah. But when you're dealing with spiritual things, you're dealing with demons.
Yes.
See, and so that's why people, they don't use the same thought process. Okay, powerlessness, strengthless, lame, halt, withered, blind, deaf, dumb. Now there's many people that Satan, well, what a major stronghold demon that's upon a lot of people, they're so blocked in deliverance. Many times that's a Leviathan. There'll be different demons within people, and their main function is to block deliverance. Now let me ask a loaded question. Pastor Jane, don't answer this. What always has been, is now, and always will be the demon's number one goal.
Stay in your body.
Stay in your body. They want and need a body to express their nature. Okay? So they want to express their nature through a body. So they will set up blockages. For instance, some people will come in and they've been taught the signs of wonders, miracles, healing, deliverance, talking in tongues, and gifts to the Holy Spirit. Now for today, God calls that doctrine of demons. Who else but the devil would come up with the doctrine to say that the devil has power, but God lost his?
That's for sure.
And people go to churches, they will believe that.
Right.
The tongues is of the devil. When God says in His Word, do not forbid to speak in tongues.
Amen.
So you talk in tongues and they think you're of the devil.
That's true.
It's crazy.
But they don't realize they've come under a spirit of deception.
Yes.
You have to understand that there's a false religious system, we call it Baal worship. And in Baal worship, they care more about the people the building, the budget, rather than the people. So that's one of the things I was saying in Luke chapter 13, when Jesus was in the synagogue and he was teaching, he saw the woman bow down, she could no wise lift herself up. He cared more about her needs being met
Yes, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
than his message.
Amen.
Amen, Lord.
And he brought her to a place of healing. That's why Sunday morning, that's why I said that during the afterglow. Moses brought forth the people to the foot of the mountain to meet with God. And Sunday morning we were brought to the foot of the mountain to meet with God. That's why we're here tonight. That's why we took time. We come. The doors open here an hour ahead of time. There were people here an hour ahead of time to begin to pray, to prepare their hearts to meet with God. That's why when it's time to pray, you want to pray. When it's time to sing, you want to sing. It's time to praise, you want to pray. So they, plural, became one. That's what we call the corporate anointing, the oneness. That's unity. So that helps the corporate anointing. Now let me get back in. The list of demons would be unhealthy. An unhealthy demon, exhaustion, disability, barrenness, an unclean spirit, anemia. When I was a young boy, I used to suffer quite a bit from anemia. Cancer. Right in the front row of the church, there was a woman came in, didn't believe in healing, didn't believe she was in a church that didn't believe that healing or deliverance was for today. She come and sit up on the front row. I broke a curse of cancer, broke a curse of death, I broke a spirit of infirmity, and a couple of others. She was scheduled for surgery. She went in for surgery. The doctor opened her up. They could not find the cancer.
Amen.
The doctor called another doctor in and said, check, because this was something measured under a microscope. And so they bring in the other doctor. The doctor couldn't find cancer.
Yes.
And come on, give God praise. And diabetes. Now in diabetes, there's a whole long list. I don't have them with me tonight. There's a whole long list. In other words, every symptom of it, that's an individual demon. So there'll be a ruler spirit, there'll be a strong man, and then all the long list, you have to deal with each symptom, manifestation of that spirit. Then that's an individual demon, and one by one you go down that list and you set that person free in a matter of time. You just have to be patient and understand. If it takes more than one session, the powers of darkness will come against that individual, try to stop them from ever coming back.
Yes.
Because Satan doesn't give up in the fact that he hates God. He wants to keep people in bondage. He wants people to go to hell with him.
Yes.
Okay, tumors. See many tumors broken, headaches, migraine headaches, deaf and dumb spirits, mute, epilepsy. Epilepsy, the same thing. We've seen people totally healed and totally delivered from epilepsy. That had there was a young man that comes here from time to time. He used to have 30 grand mal seizures every day. He used to have to wear a helmet like a football helmet to school. 30 grand mal seizures every day. They brought him here when he was a little boy, and we broke that curse, cast the demons out of him, and I didn't see that boy for years. I was told by the family the boy was healed, completely delivered. A couple of years ago, I was out. We were having the all-church picnic, and this young man begins to walk by me with this great big smile, and I could see within him a great respect for me. And I thought, I know him from somewhere. And years have gone by. That's a young man. Years have gone by. Now he's a teenager, and he's totally healed and delivered. 30 grand mal seizures a day. Totally healed, totally delivered. Come on, give God praise. With that, there's deaf and dumb spirit, there's seizures, there's epilepsy, so there's a list of them, okay? So if you just hit something, like cerebral palsy, if you just call out one thing, you may miss it because there's usually a ruler, there's a strong man, and then everyone that's causing a manifestation is a different demon, like with same thing like with multiple sclerosis. Okay, seizures, okay, asthma, allergies, and I'll go through some different, a lot of food allergies are causing physical problems. Okay, so there could be wheat allergies, peanut allergies, milk, eggs, grain, chocolate, different chemicals. There's people that have chemical reaction to toothpaste, to shampoo, hairspray. It causes different things. So one thing affects another. Okay, different infection. There was a lady that was coming here. We met her, and she had chronic infections, and Satan had set up a stronghold within her. She had within her body allergy towards antibiotics, chronic infection, and allergic reaction to antibiotics. All of them. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
We prayed against both of them and broke them, and she's healed and delivered and restored to this day. That's been many years ago. Now we can come in, we can talk about historical Jesus, what God used to do, or we can meet with him in the now. Now faith is,
Amen.
he's a God of the now, okay?
Yes.
We can talk about what he used to do, or we can say he's still doing.
Yes.
Amen.
God says in Malachi chapter 3, I'm the Lord, I don't change.
Amen.
So when people say God doesn't heal anymore, they're saying God changed. God said his word, I don't change. It says in Hebrews chapter 13, Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever. Okay? So when people say he's changed, he doesn't heal, he doesn't deliver, tongues are enough for today, they're lying from the pit of hell.
Yes.
They're in deception.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, high blood pressure, stroke, those are different kind of demons. Low blood sugar, there's low blood sugar and high blood sugar. So like hypoglycemia. So there's also what Satan would do to disguise himself. He would do certain things like increase heart rate. That's called tachycardia or bradycardia, too slow heart rate. So Satan would mess with someone's heart rate, someone's blood sugar level, someone's blood pressure
That's true.
to hinder them. The whole goal is keeping them from fullness of God. If Satan can't keep someone to come in the church, he wants to stop you from getting saved. If he can't stop you from getting saved, he wants to stop you from fullness. Satan could care less if we come to church every now and then, as long as we don't become like Jesus.
That's for sure.
As long as you don't begin to affect the spirit realm. You begin to positively affect the spirit realm. And the way to positively affect the spirit realm, if you want outward authority, give God inward
Yes,
authority.
Lord.
Yes.
A lot of people want to start a ministry. I'm going to change the whole world. And you won't let God change you? Not going to happen.
Not gonna happen.
Not
No
going
way.
to happen. The kingdom of God has to come into our mind, our will, our emotion, our heart, our thought life, our motive, our sexual realm, our finances, our body,
Yes.
our schedule, our mouth.
Yes. Yes. Keep it on.
Amen.
Yes. That's good.
Okay, so this is different things I'm going to pray against. There's been times, as I said this earlier, that I've grown enough. I'm not going to be a serial killer. I'm not going to rob banks. I don't have a girlfriend out there. So Satan then to hinder me from fullness will come at me this way. It's not rob a bank and be a serial killer or go out to the clubs. It'll come against me as fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, congestive heart failure. You'll hear a voice. Tired. See, he wants to hinder you from fullness.
Yeah.
Because when you begin to get in a position, when Satan can discern, Satan can carry on conversations.
Oh, yes.
He knows the word better than I do. He's been in this for thousands of years.
Yes.
Come on, Satan.
Yes.
He knows the word.
That's true.
Sure does, backwards and forwards.
So he doesn't want, if he can't stop you and I from coming to church, if he can't stop you from getting saved, he wants to stop you from fullness. That's the person that know. When you begin to positively affect the spirit realm, I'm going to say this, don't throw spirits at me. This is not a negative confession. This is a biblical principle. Hell will come against you.
Oh, yes.
If hell came against Jesus and he was sinless
Yes.
Amen.
and was in perfect love,
Yes.
will hell come against one or two of us?
Oh, yes.
I'm running out of time. I'll come in for landing here just a little bit. My goal then on Friday nights is to stop the speaking around on 8:45, and then we'll have a question and answer period from 9 to 9:30 cast out demons, and then we'll have testimonies after that. So I want anyone that if you have to leave early, I want you to feel free to stay as long as you can. If you need to leave early, we understand. But that's going to be the basic schedule on Wednesday night, that we do want to have an abbreviated song service, because we want to help take the atmosphere and help people get to the place of receiving. All right, let me move fast here. Arthritis, I see many people here with arthritis, bursitis, eye disease, cataracts, sinusitis. I used to suffer from chronic sinusitis every year. I read in, I think this book right here by Derek Prince, Lust and Curses, You Can Choose. I think it was in this book that I read. I used to suffer from chronic sinus infections. And I think it was this book I read by Derek Prince, and he said, this is many years ago, I had this fear of being, getting off of what we call left field. I had this fear of getting deceived, being made a fool of. And so he says, chronic sinusitis is a demon. I threw the book down and I said, that's crazy. A demon causes snot.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he said. And so I suffered for another day or two. You're catching on. Make yourself home. That's good. I love this. That's a little angel here. So I go to Pastor Jay and I go, well, just in case. I'm sure it isn't, but just in case. She cast this demon out and I've been free for years.
Amen.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna move a little
Thank God for
fast here.
deliverance.
Inflammation, different kind of fungus. The devil will get in your hormones, mess up your hormones. It will try to affect your immune system. It'll try to put paralysis upon people. Mental illness, that's along with madness, Alzheimer's, dementia. I've cast demons out of people that had diarrhea for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yes.
Painful. Glaucoma, shingles, cast demons of shingles, fever. A demon we call chemical sensitivity. We'd have hairspray or certain kinds of soap or shampoos. People have different kind of, and that could cause a kind of a one thing affects them. Also,
Yes.
there's a demon called nervous stomach.
Yes, there is.
There's a demon that I called out, steal your mind. I'm gonna come against tonight, steal your mind and steal your health, steal your energy, steal your vision.
Hallelujah.
I'm gonna command restoration of demand organs, command restoration of damaged cells and damaged tissue within your body.
Yes, Lord.
Okay, we're gonna close there, and we have a quick